Now it's time for that custom picker. For that I need two files from the old project. And they are, this picker folder. Hopefully they'll get them in. Okay, so in the picker file there's a custom M and a H that has a custom view of how a picture and a label on one side, and the custom picker data source is going to be connected. So I have already dragged a picker view up here. Now I'm going to try to connect it. Instead of setting the data source to the owner of this file, which will be picker view controller.m, I want to set the data source to custom picker data source, and also the delegate to the custom picker data source. It's getting confusing. One file can't have two picker views management going on. Now it seems to be a challenge at this point. I mean, within the storyboard there isn't seem to be a way. I have imported custom picker.datasource.h, and it doesn't seem to be allowing me to connect. The only way it does is files owner, and within the storyboard, how do I connect my data source to visually to another file which is not the owner of this view? So that's the challenge right now. One thing I like to change over there is when I go to pickers and I select the date picker, I select one of the dates. It did not show up on the label. I want to show it on the label, and the way I did that was, I think that technique is important. I am going to open up, basically I created an outlet, control click drag. No, actually I created a method signature, show date, IV action show date, and I control click dragged on top of it. Let's try again. Okay, it's already connected. When I hover over it, it said, do you want to connect it? So I connected it. Yeah, it's already connected to this method, show date. So now, see if I control click it, value changed is connected to show date. And then I switched over to the .m. Actually, I could have just done that one, saying show date, right click, jump to definition, and I'm in the .m file, and I got the date out of the picker outlet, and then middle label outlet.text is I take the selected date I got and the line above and format it and display it. So that's how I could the date picker connected to show date action. Now next thing, I am not seeing any possibility to connect my custom picker. So what I did was I picked a picker view up here. It's that one, and I select it to hidden so it's not shown. Then I did a few things. I went into picker view controller, and I imported the custom picker data source. I prop it. I created an outlet for the UI picker view by bringing up the storyboard, control click drag and call it customer picker outlet. Then in the .m file I synthesize them, and then in the viewDidLoad method I created an instance of customer data source allocated. No need for that, that messed things up. I have an instance of the customer picker outlet, its data source to self.customer picker data source, delegate to customer picker data source, and hidden equal to yes. So that's how the customer picker data source will be connected to the customer picker data source, and customer picker data source uses the customer view to draw its image, an array of the custom view, and the custom view, in the draw rect it draws a picture. So now when all that is done, I go to customer picker view, see that the picking of the date is enabled, and I have a custom picker with a picture and a label. The same way I could create an IB action, connect it to that, show custom picker value, and implement it just like for the other one. Okay, it took a while, but I figured it out. Even though the data source is not the view, I can still transfer values back in here. For example, as soon as I make selections now, my selections show up and are transferred back into from the data source for the custom picker back into the view controller, so I can know and display and work with it. And that was not a functionality in the original program, but I have added it in, and the way it's done is that in the custom picker I have to do add class picker view controller, prop it, import it again, no need for this anymore, synth it, and once I have that, I can go back to picker view controller, and when in the viewDidLoad, when I set it, when I was setting the data source, I can say customer data source set picker view controller to self. So with the custom picker data source, I have registered this class, which is the picker view controller M, as the instance. Now I'll be able, using this I'll be able to pass the values back. So in the customer data source, it's set to picker view controller. So now I added this function in there, picker view controller did select row. Once I find out each row is an instance of the customer, so customer view, a custom view is an instance of each row in the custom picker is an instance of custom view. So custom view, I'll call it by a pointer named customer picker array object at index picker views selected row in component 0. So that'll give me the one customer that I clicked on. So then I can use customer.title and use the picker view middle label outlet.text, and that's how I can talk in between the data source and the view controller. So now when I click on the view, of course this was already working dates, I go to custom and make a selection, early morning, late afternoon, so the information is being passed back from customer picker data source to picker view controller and is being displayed. The picker view controller is able to talk to the scene, and everything is wired up. So there we go, using the storyboard, a little bit of programming, the pickers redone or or should I say makeover.